Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm the Tattooed Preacher. So, it happened again. I'm recording this September 23rd, last week. It came out again that another well-known, popular pastor has come out with another scandal. It's Pastor or Dr. Steve Lawson, pastor of a church in Texas, or was one of the main speaking pastors at a church in Texas. Older guy. It's come out that he had an inappropriate relationship. And so as a result, his church took him out of the pulpit, no longer pastoring, no longer preaching. And we've seen this kind of wiping of this guy, Lawson, from other churches' websites, messages that he's preached, that he's spoken. It's just this kind of, man, it's just a very sad situation. And so this isn't going to be one of these bashing videos where I'm going to critique him. No. The reason why I'm reacting to this situation is because it highlights the need for humility in the church. This is something that I think a lot of people never saw coming. And so what do I mean by that? You see, Steve Lawson, he's part of that crew in the Reformed evangelical world. You have John MacArthur, you had R.C. Sproul, you had John Piper, you had Steve Lawson. There's this crew of pastors and preachers who would be preaching at all of the Reformed conferences, preaching at each other's churches, well known and writing books, defending the faith and preaching Jesus. Yes, like they did a lot of good things, but one of the things that they're known for is blasting of other denominations, blasting other leaders, and in particular, blasting other leaders in these other denominations, particularly Pentecostal charismatic denominations, and the leaders that have fallen due to moral failure. And I mean, it's happened the last 4, 5, 6 years. High-profile megachurch pastors have come out with another scandal. But it was always kind of in those circles. It was never really in the Reform world. It wasn't in this crew, this clique of older Reformed pastors. And they would blast these other leaders and say, see, look it. They preach healing, they preach gifts of the Spirit, they preach all this stuff, and then they have these moral failures. And so they use these leaders' moral failures as a way to look down on their doctrine and their theology and say, see, bad doctrine, bad theology, bad moral character. You can't follow these kind of guys. You can't follow this theology. You can't follow pastors who are in these denominations. Seriously, for year after year after year. I mean, I've started following this probably 10, 15 years ago now, and it was happening long before that. And so you see that. And it was always, I used to think it's just a matter of time before someone in their world falls. And I guarantee you, no one saw this coming. Like people in their world, in their circles, I mean, this was something that they had it on everyone else. Like these upstanding men, these men of high character, no moral failures, righteous and blasting everybody. But now, one of their own, one of the major players in those theological circles in the Reform world has fallen. I can only imagine what they're all thinking right now as they comb through their websites, their preaching itineraries and their upcoming conference schedules, and because they're known for blasting everyone else for these moral failures. Now one of their own has fallen. Are they going to blast him too? How are they going to approach it? How are they going to handle it? I'm interested to see what's going to happen in these next few days, weeks, and months. They don't hold back when it came to other leaders, but now one of their own. And it just shows you the need for humility. It shows the reality that there's no one who's beyond temptation. It shows the humanity, the brokenness, the fact that this kind of thing can happen to anybody. There's so many clips, videos of him just going hard at the teaching of like adultery and pastors who would fall in that kind of sin, and he would just be so hard on it. And there's so many viral clips now of him talking about it and being asked questions about it. What's crazy is his very last sermon. The whole premise of the sermon was about you can't, and this is bizarre. His whole premise was you can't judge a minister, judge their entire ministry by one hiccup. And then like 2 days later, it comes out that he had an inappropriate relationship. It's so bizarre. But he'd go hard at it. So it just shows you that, man, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what denomination you affiliate yourself with, doesn't matter how close to God you think you are, how many sermons you've preached, how many books you've written, how smart you are, how theologically astute you are. No one is beyond temptation. And this dude, we don't know all the details yet, but it seems that this dude behind the scenes was living two lives. Publicly was one thing, privately was another, while at the same time blasting other people for doing the same thing. This is why people look at the church and they just see hypocrisy. Instead of coming to the table with grace, humility, and understanding, you have people blasting each other, judging each other, condemning each other. And it's like this happens, and then it's a very awkward situation now. And so I'm interested to see what the little crew does now, that theological world, how they handle this. But again, the whole point of this is just, we just need humility and to give each other grace and understanding, because, man, if you live a hypocritical life, it's only a matter of time. So no one's beyond temptation. Everyone has weakness. It just shows the need for humility. Well, that's it for this video. Let me know your comments, thoughts, questions. Write them down below in the comment section, and we'll see you all in the next video. Much love, and God bless.